The northern wind came down like the howl of a wounded beast, cold, sharp, unrelenting. With it came the imperial summons. A scroll nailed to the village gate, its words like iron. Every household must provide one man for the army. No exceptions. The invaders had crossed the Great Wall. They burned, pillaged, tore the northern provinces apart like dry parchment in their claws. The emperor needed soldiers, bodies to throw into the mouth of war. It did not matter that Mulan's father was too old. His knees cracked with every step, his back hunched from a lifetime of duty. It did not matter that he had already served, that the scars on his body had long since stopped healing. He was the only man in the FA household, and so he had to go. Mulan watched him that night, how he silently laid out his sword, his armor, his trembling hands smoothing out straps he could no longer lift. Her mother sobbed softly in the adjoining room, muffled behind paper walls. Her younger brother, too small to hold a bow, sat in silent dread. Mulan said nothing, but her decision was already made. That night, beneath a moon half swallowed by cloud, she took her father's armor. She bound her hair with rough twine. She dressed not like a warrior, but like a ghost, walking out of her childhood and into history. She rode alone to the conscription post. The officer barely looked up, just marked another name, another warm body for the front. And so began 12 years of war. 12 years of biting wind and iron ground, of blood soaking into armor that never quite fit, of comrades dying with names half-formed on their lips. 12 years of pretending, of keeping her voice low, her chest bound, her face turned away during baths, her wounds stitched with her own shaking hands in the dark. She never asked for comfort. She asked only to survive and to protect. Her first kill came early, an ambush at dawn, the enemy charging from the mist. She drove her spear through the rider's chest and felt him shudder against her, warm blood splashing her neck. She didn't flinch. She couldn't. The men around her cheered. To them, she was F.A. Ping, a quiet, odd young man with sharp eyes and quick hands. They noticed her silence, her precision, her refusal to boast or gamble like the others. But they never asked. They trusted her in battle, and that was all that mattered. She rose through the ranks not with charm, but with action. Her strategies turned certain defeats into hard-won stalemates. She studied maps while others drank. She patched armor while others slept. Her discipline was a wall, and behind it, she hid everything. The war changed faces but never faded. 1 year bled into the next. Seasons passed like pages torn by wind. Mulan fought through snow that burned skin raw, through rain that never stopped falling, through smoke so thick it carved memories into her lungs. Her hands became calloused, her back scarred. She carried comrades when their legs failed. She dug graves when time allowed. She gave last words to strangers with nothing but their blood on her hands and the weight of duty in her chest. She missed birthdays, festivals, her brother growing tall. She missed the way rice tasted when it was fresh, the sound of her mother's voice when she wasn't afraid. But she never turned back. Her reputation grew. In her 12th year, the enemy massed near the Yellow River, an army vast as the horizon. The general was slain. Command shattered. The troops scattered like leaves in wind. It was Mulan who stood firm, Mulan who took the flag from the general's corpse and raised it high. She rallied the broken lines. She led the counterattack. Her plan was bold: cross the river at night, flank the enemy at dawn. Many said it was madness. She did it anyway. She led from the front, through waist-deep mud, arrows falling like rain. Her voice, sharp and calm, cut through the chaos. By sunrise, they held the ridge. The enemy was routed. It was a turning point. Word reached the imperial court within days. The emperor summoned her to the capital, honor for the commander who saved the northern defense. Her comrades celebrated. They rode into the city like legends. Mulan sat silent on her horse, her eyes fixed ahead. The court was a world apart, silks and scrolls, marble and incense. She stood before the emperor, head bowed. He offered her riches, gold, land, a high post. He said she could be anything she wished. Mulan asked only for a horse, and to go home. The court was stunned. The emperor, after a long silence, granted her request. He gave her his personal steed, a symbol of highest favor. She left that day with no fanfare. She did not stay for the statues. She did not wait for her name to be carved in stone. She rode through villages that had forgotten war, fields green with the peace she helped win. When she reached home, her mother did not recognize her at first, this tall, quiet figure with eyes like iron. Her father opened the door with shaking hands, and fell to his knees in tears. She removed her armor, let her hair down. spoke her name aloud for the first time in years. The truth unraveled slowly, one thread at a time. Neighbors whispered. Some doubted. Others marveled. But none denied what she had done. She had served, bled, killed, led. She had saved lives. She had changed the war. And she had never once sought recognition. She returned to farming, to morning chores, to watching the wind move through the reeds. Her sword was hung above the hearth, not as a trophy, but as a memory. Sometimes children from nearby villages came to stare at her in secret. They didn't know what they expected, a woman with wings or fire in her eyes. Instead, they found someone hanging laundry or grinding grain. She never scolded them. Sometimes she smiled. Once a girl asked her, "Did you really fight the barbarians?" Mulan looked out across the hills, the wind stirring her hair. "Yes," she said simply. That was all. She didn't need to say more. The war lived in her bones. It had taken pieces of her no one would ever see. But she had given them willingly. Not for glory, not for reward, but because someone had to. Because her father's body was broken, and her country needed a sword. Because she had hands, and she could lift one. And so she did. That was the truth behind the legend. Not a tale of magic or destiny, but of human choice. Of quiet rebellion. Of a girl no one believed in, until she became someone no one could deny. She changed history not by seeking greatness, but by refusing to be small. And when it was done, when the world finally looked at her, she bowed her head and walked away. Not because she was afraid of the spotlight, but because she knew her worth was never in it. That is the measure of a human. Not in what they are given, but what they endure, what they protect, what they leave behind. Mulan left no heirs, no dynasty, no throne. But she left something greater. A story. A truth. That courage doesn't need a crown. It needs only a reason, and a heart willing to carry it, no matter the weight.